Okay, now we'll be going over the steps on how do you set up your transit slips. Step number 1. You need to go into each slip. Obviously, this needs to be entered. This is so that the system can search. So if somebody's got a 45-foot boat, it knows what slips to put them in, what the width is, what the draft is. This is what it's going to be looking at for criteria. Also, what it has for electric. Second thing is if you're charging for electric, a daily charge for transit slips, you need to put a type. The type can be anything that you want to type in, but this has to match up to what the bill is going to be, and we'll go over that shortly. Normally, you'd have two separate ones. You'd have one which would be 30 amp, another one which would be 50 amp. You can have as many as you wish. Now, second, if it sees that this slip has an electric meter with it, it'll automatically put it on the invoice when you're billing the customer. If the person's not using electricity, you can easily just delete it off. If you don't have this on here and it's blank, it'll automatically on the invoice have the slip charge, and you can manually type in and put the electric charge. So putting this code into the type field will do it automatically for you. If you leave it blank, you manually have to do it. Second, you should have this check mark. If you have certain slips that are strictly transit slips, this here needs to be check marked transit. Now, if you're renting a slip that's a permanent slip, you can, when the person leaves and they're going to be away for 2 weeks, just make it a transit. Now it'll look at that slip and allow somebody to rent it for those 2 weeks. The customer may not be there. So this is step number 1. Step number 2, go into control record maintenance, and you'd want to go into load transit rates. In this case, we're saying any boat that's 20 feet or less, you're going to charge $250 a foot. Any boat that's obviously between 20 and 30, it's $350. Over 40, $450. If you just have one rate, then you would just say $9,999, and you would have whatever the rate is. So regardless of what the size boat is, if you're charging $7 a foot, this would be $999, and this would be $7. Obviously, when you're doing your billing, you have the ability to change these rates. If it's taxable, you need to check taxable. Okay, the next step is setting up your charge for your electric meters. You do that in the inventory control module. So let's go to inventory. Let's check inventory maintenance and reports, and we're going into inventory master file. Now we have one set up already here. Now, this code here obviously has to match up to whatever you put into the slip. So we had ELEC1, which is a 30 amp. We also had another one, ELEC2, which is a 50 amp. You can make that whatever you want. This right here, -ELT, that should be the vendor code that you use. That does two things. It knows it's not a stocking pot, number one. And secondly, now you'll get reports, so you'll be able to see exactly what you're making on transit electric meter charges. Also, it'll tie into general ledger so that you can have separate accounts if you wish to do that. Secondly, the description can be anything you wish. You can put a cost there if you want to put an estimated cost, that's fine. And this would be your daily charge. So in this case, we're going to be charging $20 a day for transit electric meters. In this case, if it's a 50 amp, we're charging $25 a day. So once you've done that, now you're pretty much ready to start assigning customers and making appointments for slips. Watch the second video to go over the actual operational for transit slips.